Guys, that's not what that's for. That's the line of sight ruler. I'm going to need that. No, I'm going to need that right away, right here at the beginning. Get off. Well, welcome back to the game, everyone. This is Robert, and this is George. We had a question from one of the viewers about the last turn and what kind of defense dice would Dom have used, and he's here. What defense dice would he have used if this boomer had had a clear line of sight to him? If you remember, after raising the camera up this way a little bit and trying to measure line of sight from this spot over to the boomer's space, we determined that it was a bit too much of a stretch. It was a bit too much to get through this doorway and hit this spot over here. This line of sight ruler, you can actually put this down, this little thing here, right on the spot that you're measuring from, and then kind of turn it this way and see how things line up. And probably, I didn't read this anywhere directly in the rule book, but probably the width of this little ruler might help determine if there's enough wiggle room for a clear shot. And as you can see, I'm clearly cutting the corner of these doorways. But when we measured line of sight straight down the hall, even though it's across several tiles and through 2 doorways, that's no problem. You've got plenty of room to spot your enemy and take your shot. You saw that Marcus here got his regular 1 die, and then he got 2 more dice for being in full cover. But what if that boomer had been able to take a shot at Dom right here? Well, Dom would have gotten his single die, as he always does. That's right on the character's card. But because he's not behind, remember that line of sight, as we talked about before, didn't cross this wall. It's on this side. Then he is only considered to be in partial cover, which gives him only 1 more die for his defense roll. So Marcus got 2 for full cover. It crossed his wall there. Dom has his back up to this one and only gets 1 extra die for his defense roll. Good question. Now let's move on. We're picking it up with Marcus next. As you may recall, Marcus took a hit last time from the boomer, and yes, it was a good shot. It was a good shot. He took a hit from the boomer and took some damage and is down to 1 card. So as we start his turn, we need to draw 2 more. This is in the healing step. That will bring Marcus up to 3 cards. Well, being in full cover like he is, we now are going to use a card called Blind Fire. It says that you may perform 1 attack, and if you are in cover, you may make 1 additional attack. Let's start with that. Well, remember that Marcus and Dom are both trying to seal this open emergence hole. So let's toss a grenade. Okay, here's Marcus Phoenix Bolo grenade card. When you use a grenade, you're going to be rolling 4 attack dice, and you're always going to be removing one of the tokens on it. So once he uses this grenade, he's out. He doesn't have any more. Maximum range of 2. You can't throw the Bolo grenade farther than that. This is what we're after. Remember, it's our mission right now to seal that emergence hole. So we need to roll 4 attack dice and get 1 of these. So unlike some of the other attacks we've been making, we don't have any enemies in here. We could always throw George in there. No, I'm just kidding, George. Anyway, there are no enemies in there. So if we roll any wounds, they're not going to do anything. we've got to get at least one of these to seal that hole. Let's see if we can do it. Alright, George, it's an important roll. You can be right here. You're not going to miss a thing. And look at that. Wound, 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 wound. No omen. That was unsuccessful. So this goes into the discard pile. The grenade clatters across the floor, but fails to go down the hole and seal it. So, tough shot for Marcus. The blind fire card is going to give him another attack, but he doesn't have any grenades left. Well, Marcus curses as the grenade fails to seal the emergence hole. As you can see on his order card, since he is in cover, he may make one additional attack. Well, Marcus could turn around here and try to get off a burst of shots from his rifle and try to hit the boomer, but how many spaces would that be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a long shot. The assault rifle's range is 2. That's just not very good. So maybe his next attack needs to be against this drone. But does he have line of sight on the drone? Well, let's measure it. Alright, so we have our blue line here for elevated area. But we only have to worry about this wall. So we don't have to worry about that blue line. We have to measure from the white dot where Marcus is standing. And then we need to line up this marker to the white dot where the drone is standing. So as we scan this way over to where the drone is and put that black line over its white space, is that a clear shot? Well, I don't think we've got a good shot. It's too tight around that corner. It doesn't look like a clear shot to me. I'll measure it one more time to make sure. White dot to white dot. And do I see that corner of the wall? Yep. It's clipping that corner. It is not line of sight from Marcus's position. So he doesn't have a great set of options here. Let's see what else he can think of. What if Marcus switched over to his pistol? Oddly, in comparison to the assault rifle, the pistol actually has greater range, a range of 3. Maybe let's go with an overkill attack on the wounded boomer. And let's remove this ammo token, because the pistol has a special ability here that you may make attacks with it, like this one, using 1 die, even when you don't have any ammo tokens on it. So you may make a normal attack. We're going to go with an overload attack, rolling 3 attack dice. But that boomer is 5 spaces away, so the boomer is going to get 2 more red dice for its defense. So we've got 3 attack dice for the pistol. The boomer normally gets 2 defense dice. You'll see it right there. But because of the extreme range, he's going to get 2 more. So our chances are slim that we're going to be able to do much with this. But let's give it a roll. Look at that. Absolutely nothing on the defense, and 4 wounds on the attack. Well, let's talk about this for a minute. 4 wounds. We can see very clearly now, if we go to the boomer, that his wound marker says 2. Well, 4 is greater than 2, so this boomer is killed. What if, you may be wondering, what if we rolled our damage and we had a different outcome? What if we had rolled and maybe it was something like this? and we did only 1 wound, what would that do? Well, the boomer doesn't go down to 1 hit point. Remember, the game doesn't work that way. It doesn't measure hit points. It measures your status, healthy, wounded, or dead. 1 wound is not enough damage to remove that wound marker. And there's no way to count it down another point, so it just stays. Even though a wound was rolled, it's not enough to take him down. He just absorbs the shot. You know, he took the bullet, but it didn't do enough damage. You got to do 2 damage to take down a wounded boomer. You can hit him 5 times in a row with 1 wound at a time, but that's not going to be enough. You've got to do 2 wounds to take him out. And Marcus did 4. So Marcus pulled out his pistol and got the headshot. The boomer is out. What do we get? Anything. We take our marker, turn it over. Aha! He has dropped the boom shot. He's dropped his big gun. But it's a long way away. Somebody may want to go get it. I don't know. So Marcus has made his first attack with the grenade. He's made his second attack with his pistol because he was in cover. Now he gets to choose a cog figure in his area to draw 1 order card. Well, he's going to choose himself because he is wounded the most. Dom will be able to heal up to full health next turn unless the AI card gets him here. So, anticipating that Dom is going to be safe, let's give Marcus the extra card. Alright, it is time for the Locust AI to act. Hey George, look at that. We've got wretches. We don't have any wretches in play, so we need to go down here, and we have an otherwise. Spawn 2 wretches at each emergence hole within 4 movement of you. Alright George. Time for you to go in. Alright guys, have you decided who's going in? Who's going in? George? Alright. You two? George, you're going in. Alright, well let's go. Well, crawling up out of the emergence hole is George. And George takes cover. Remember, looking at the wretch, their card, they have a cover marker right there. So the wretches will take cover whenever possible. The next wretch crawling out of the hole has no cover, so he's just over there on the side. Dom, Marcus, look out! They're right behind you. Yeah, George, that's it. No, you don't get to make your attack. Yeah, I know he's standing right there, but no, you get to spawn. I mean, look, let's look at the card again. Otherwise, because there's no wretches in play, otherwise, spawn 2 wretches at each emergence hole. There's 1 hole within 4 movement of you, 4 movement from Marcus. That's the emergence hole right there. That's all we can do. No, we have to draw another one of these before you can attack or do anything. Well, yeah, it's dangerous. I don't make the rules, man. Let's move on. Oh, what's that, George? Yeah, that's a really good question. Let's talk about that. Okay, so George's question here was about the otherwise section of this card. It says spawn 2 wretches at each emergence hole within 4 movement of you. Well, obviously, we were close to that emergence hole, but what if we had been back here? And this emergence hole is sealed, and the others are sealed. We would have been out of range, so this card would not have done anything. What do we do in that situation? Well, these are some of the AI cards that we've played so far. A lot of times it'll have the otherwise section, and then it will say if, then you draw a new AI card. So if you can't do anything, then you draw a new AI card. A couple of them have those, and some of them don't. So what do we do when we can't do anything with our AI card? Well, let's look in the rule book on page 11. We see a sample AI card, and we're looking around here at section number 3. At first, we always look at this top section here. But it says if that cannot be resolved, the player instead resolves this ability in area number 3. The otherwise ability sometimes lists criteria under which this card is discarded without effect and a new card is drawn. But the key word there is sometimes. So sometimes a card has no effect and you draw a new one. This one has no if or anything about drawing another AI card. So what do we do there? We can't do this. We can't do this. Well, the card is simply put into the discard pile and nothing happens. Yeah, that was a good question, George. That rarely comes up, but sometimes it does. Anyway, fortunately for you and your buddy there, they were close enough to the emergence hole. I knew you guys are now in the game. Alright, we'll catch you next time. Well, that's going to conclude the AI activation for this turn. Marcus failed in his attempt to seal the emergence hole, but managed to pull off a great shot from cover with his pistol, getting the headshot on the wounded boomer and taking him down. So about 5 spaces away, we now have the boom shot lying on the ground, our guys in cover, but George and friends have spawned right behind them out of the open emergence hole. Marcus ends the turn with 3 cards. We're going to pick it up with Dom next.